Throughout the 20th century, the spare tire was a symbol of freedom. It was not merely a round piece of rubber resting in a car's trunk. It was a declaration that you controlled your own fate. A driver in 1925 knew that whether stranded in the Nevada desert or on a dirt road in Siberia, they could save themselves. Today, however, when you open the trunk of a modern car, what you often find is an empty cavity. No fifth wheel, no jack, no toolkit, just a block of foam. Sometimes a small can of sealant or worse, nothing at all. By 2025, more than 30% of vehicles leave the factory without a spare tire. So what happened? Why did a symbol of self-reliance, one that carried people through wars, economic collapse, and transcontinental journeys disappear in less than 2 decades? The answer lies not only in engineering,
why have spare tires disappeared from modern
but
cars?
in social structure. As industrial civilization matured, individuals gradually surrendered personal skills in exchange for collective support systems. And the fifth wheel became one of the earliest casualties of that transition. When the Ford Model T was introduced in 1908, less than 10% of American roads were paved. Driving was a hybrid experience, half mechanical, half survival. Dust, sharp stones, rusty nails, anything could puncture a tire. A 200-kilometer journey might require stopping 3 or 4 times just to fix flats. The spare tire was therefore not a convenience, but a condition for survival. Many Model Ts carried 2 spare wheels mounted on the sides, like revolvers on a cowboy's horse. The image of a man removing his shirt, lifting a jack, and changing a tire under the midday sun was not just technical, it was a ritual of the self-reliant era. But this world could exist only when infrastructure was weak and technology unstandardized. Tires, rims, and bolts varied widely across manufacturers. People had to adapt on their own, much like 19th century farmers who needed to repair plows, forge blades, and mend boots themselves. As mass production and industrial standardization expanded, however, the cost of mechanical failure began to fall. Cars became more reliable, and the fifth wheel slowly lost its justification. Yet this was only the beginning. The real pressure came from government regulation. In the early 1970s, the world was shaken by the oil crisis. The U.S. government responded by introducing CAFE standards, corporate average fuel economy, forcing automakers to meet specific fuel efficiency targets. Europe followed with similar regulations under the Euro emission standards. The goal sounded simple: reduce fuel consumption, reduce emissions. Technically, however, it triggered a design revolution. Every gram of CO2 eliminated meant every kilogram of weight had to disappear. Engineers began dissecting every component: seats,
the expansion of the
bolts,
clean energy tax credits
frames,
is essential.
doors,
But how do
and
we
eventually,
address the grid
the
stability
spare
concern?
tire. A spare tire weighing 20-25 kilograms can increase fuel consumption by 5 liters per 100 kilometers, scaled across millions
Today,
of
the
vehicles.
European Commission is tabling
This
the most
translates into
comprehensive
hundreds
package
of thousands
emissions
of tons of
regulations to date.
CO2 annually. From a
The current
regulatory
iteration is still too
perspective,
heavy at this junction point.
the fifth
According
wheel
to the
became a
generative design
climate
simulation,
offender.
we
The
need to
law
ensure
never
the rigidity of this
explicitly
frame
said
section.
remove
Yes,
it,
especially around the
but
B-pillar
compliance
connection.
pressure
The
left
schematic suggests a
manufacturers with
revised
little
bolt pattern.
choice.
The latch
Reducing
mechanism here
vehicle
allows
weight
for
by
a
a
quick
few
release,
dozen
making it
kilograms
fully removable.
could mean
Yes,
meeting
and the bolt
targets and
loosens
avoiding
easily by
millions of
hand.
dollars
It's
in
much lighter
fines. In the legal systems of the 21st century, optimization is no longer a creative option. It is a survival mandate. From this point forward, the story moved beyond engineers and into the hands of economists and consumers.
By
the
removing your
1990s,
spare tire, you can
two
significantly
developments
reduce
permanently
fuel
reshaped
consumption
human
and
behavior:
keep more money in your
roadside
pocket.
assistance networks and mobile phones. In 1975, a driver with a flat tire in the desert had no choice but to fix it alone. By 2025, all it took was a phone call. Insurance companies, after-sales services, and roadside assistance providers spread worldwide, selling a new product: subscription-based reassurance.
The tolerance
Drivers
on
no
this shaft
longer
is
needed to
critical
know
for the
how to
gear line.
change
I
a
understand,
tire.
but
They
If we
simply
adjust the casing
purchased a
here,
roadside
we save
assistance
weight.
plan.
All
The fewer
engineering
personal
hurdles
skills
cleared on
people
the Helios
retain,
project.
Good. The
the
strategic focus
greater
now
the
shifts to
demand for
market penetration
services
in the Southeast
and the
Asia
more
corridor.
profitable the
Projections
market
look strong.
became.
Looks like it might
Culturally,
be the battery connection
this
here.
marked a
just had the
subtle
battery check
psychological
last month.
shift.
Well,
People
either
began
way, we'll get you hooked up,
externalizing
take a
risk,
closer look at the shop.
outsourcing reliability. From
Look,
cooking
I
at home to
understand,
ordering
but I'm
food.
telling you, the engine is
From
overheating and
maintaining
I'm blocking
machines to
traffic.
calling technicians. From
How
fixing
much longer
cars
is
to
the
calling
ETA?
rescue services. As a result, the spare tire, once a symbol of self-rescue, became obsolete. It was
All right,
no
we'll get this
longer
changed quickly.
necessary
Your
in an
membership covers the service call
ecosystem
entirely.
where every
That's
risk had a
wonderful. I really
service
appreciate the quick
designed to
response.
manage it. If the 20th century was defined by machines making humans more independent,
Okay,
the 21st
angle the
century
wrench
presents a
exactly as
paradox.
shown,
Technology
and turn
has made
slowly.
humans more dependent on
tight.
networks,
There we go.
on
Perfect.
systems,
Next step is
and
up.
on each other. With the rise of electric and hybrid vehicles, the spare tire officially entered the museum. The reason was no longer just weight, but space. Lithium-ion batteries require flat, wide, low-mounted areas to ensure thermal stability. New vehicle architectures known as skateboard chassis store the entire battery pack beneath the floor. Every empty cavity, including the spare tire well, must be repurposed for wiring, cooling systems, or auxiliary batteries.
Slowly
To
now.
electric
Keep it aligned with
vehicle
the chassis.
engineers,
Confirm. Applying torque to the
every
main bolts.
liter of
System
volume
reports
is
green.
prime real estate. A spare tire occupying 30-40 liters means sacrificing 2-3 kilowatt hours of battery capacity, equivalent to 15-20 kilometers of driving range.
The
In
scan
an
confirms the
industry where
headroom clearance,
range
but look at the
defines
depth here.
survival,
If we adjust the
no
console layout, we can
manufacturer
expand
can
the storage
afford that
significantly.
trade-off.
Yeah.
As you
Moreover,
can see, the traditional
electric
spare
motors
tire
deliver
space
instant
now
torque,
houses the advanced cooling
increasing the risk
infrastructure
of
and
instability
modular battery
after
packs.
a tire puncture. Instead of relying on spare wheels, EVs use pressure sensors, early warning systems, and self-sealing tire materials. Mechanics are replaced by data, and thus, in a closed feedback loop, the decision to eliminate the spare tire became inevitable. Lower weight, greater battery capacity, and regulatory compliance achieved simultaneously. The fifth wheel completed its historical mission, only to be erased from the ecosystem by the very evolutionary process it once helped initiate. The spare tire did not disappear because people forgot it, but because the world changed.
This
In a
configuration
globally
is perfect.
connected industrial
We've maximized
system,
the cargo volume.
self-reliance
Excellent work.
is no
Let's
longer an
finalize the
advantage.
schematics.
It is an exception. We have handed repair capability back to the collective in exchange for convenience and speed. And that is the true end of the era of self-reliance.